Take a deep breath in, and as you breathe in a slow, relaxing breath, and as you exhale, feel that you're releasing all of the tension around your eyelids and eyes, and feel a wonderful sense of release as tension starts to leave your body in that outward breath. That you're breathing in powerful resources. Anxiety is not threats and dangers, it's the evaluation of them. It's doubt. So as you breathe in a sense of certainty, a sense of inner strength and courage, you exhale any worries, any feelings of anxiety, any fears. Just feel that they're leaving your body in that outward breath, and breathe in a feeling of strength. Most people come to the wrong evaluation. That when they've experienced vulnerability and isolation, they come to the conclusion that somehow they are vulnerable, without realizing that the opposite is true. I want you to start thinking about your past from a different perspective. You've gone through difficult situations, moments where you didn't have the same level of protection or support you needed. But I want you to come to the conclusion that if you've got through times like that, then it is evidence that you can handle anything. You start to look at your past as evidence that you are a survivor, that you can get through anything. So breathe in that conviction, that belief that you are stronger than you think you are, that you are more resourceful than you think you are, and release those old feelings of weakness, of vulnerability, of isolation. That is not you. As you breathe in this resourceful feeling of calm and relaxation, allow your unconscious mind to accept the idea that after a few years, because the body regenerates cells, after a few years, there isn't a single cell in your body from your past that still exists now, particularly your childhood. And therefore, it's very possible that you are an entirely different physical being, carrying the coping strategies, thoughts and ideas of a person that you aren't anymore. So breathe in and breathe out. Feel a wonderful feeling of deep relaxation as you imagine how good it would feel to go back in time to when you were a teenager. Just imagine floating up out of your body in your current age and going all the way back. And I want you to go back to a time perhaps when you were a teenager alone in a house there in the countryside, at a time when that younger version of you was on her own. And introduce yourself to that version of you as being her from the future. And imagine a look of disbelief or distrust, but feel that you can earn that trust by telling that younger version of you maybe a secret or an experience that only they would know. And when you've convinced that younger version of you that you are indeed them from the future, let me know by nodding your head. I want you to tell them that they are stronger than they realize. That these moments of feeling scared or isolated, vulnerable, aren't necessary. You know that nothing bad happens because you arrived at your age still in one piece. As it starts to reassure that younger version of you that they get through this period of their life. And I want you to tell them that substances, whether it's alcohol or food, only feels like it helps, but it doesn't actually help. And I want that younger version of you to be curious as to what would work better than escapism and distraction. And if you feel like you know what would help that younger version of you in that same moment, if it was to be re-experienced again, let me know by nodding your head. I want you to feel like you're sharing insights, advice, wisdom, but also give them the emotional resource that they need most. That if they feel unsafe, give them the resource of infinite confidence or bravery or self-assurance. Whatever emotional resource they needed the most, imagine giving them a glowing ball of energy that represents that resource. And if you can see them take that gift of that resource from you, see it being placed not to their chest or their heart, but there deep in their gut. And as they experience that, feel an easing of any tension or turbulence in your gut. That by giving a gift to the version of you in the past, you're giving a gift to you in the present. Because if you received that strength, that courage, that confidence, that self-belief, that you can handle whatever life throws at you, then that would ripple through time all the way to you in this moment. But I also want you to let her know that any alcohol, any processed foods doesn't actually work. is just a temporary distraction, a temporary illusion. That what actually works is to make different evaluations and to become more resourceful. And one of the ways to feel more resourceful than ever is something as simple as a good night's sleep. When you sleep well, you wake up more alert, your mind is sharper. And what if the very thing that they've been doing to keep them safe by staying awake or blurring their judgment is the very thing that makes them more vulnerable? That sleeping well and becoming more alert would give them the ability to be safer than ever before. I want you to get a sense that this younger version of you needs something else from you. Allow you in this moment to be the parent figure that this child needed in that moment. Words of love, affection, encouragement, to listen, to hold that space, to give them a hug, to tell them it will all be okay. And it will. And at the point where you hug this younger version of you, feel that sense of being protected, respected, acknowledged, rippling all the way through time into your present body. As that turbulence in the gut starts to ease, you breathe longer and slower. And then feel that this younger version of you had something back then that you need now. And if you have an idea of what that is, let me know by nodding your head. I want you to get a sense that there was something. Maybe it was a way of thinking, a sense of adventure, hope, dreams, and this time feel like you're receiving the gift. That whatever you had in abundance back then that somehow has been lost over time, feel that you're receiving that now. That the glowing ball of energy is now being given to you from that younger version of you. And in the same way that when one candle lights another, nothing is lost from the original candle. Feel that this resource that you're receiving now exists in you and her. And again, don't place it on the chest, place it there on the gut. Feel your body absorb that resourceful feeling and feel it integrate into you in the here and now. If your unconscious knows what it is, that's fine, and if it doesn't, that's fine too. Your unconscious is just accepting a gift of an additional resource that, when taken back to the present moment, will reduce your desire to have processed foods, to encourage you to feel safe when you sleep at night, to enable you to drift off into deep, rejuvenating, healing sleep. And when your body has fully absorbed that resource that you had back then and now have now, let me know by nodding your head. And I want you to give that younger version of you another hug and tell them You're going to drop by, keeping a watchful eye on them, ensuring that they are safe, and then return to the near future, perhaps just 1 or 2 days in the future, and observe that version of you, a version of you that has come to the conclusion that all of this anxiety was just false alarms, an internal voice in your head, like a boy who cried wolf too many times with no wolf to be seen. And I want you to see that near future version of you realizing that in the same way that you would stop believing a friend that kept saying things that wasn't true, you're going to stop believing that inner voice of threats and dangers and fears until you have overwhelming evidence that they are true. So see that future version of you looking less fearful and looking more confident. See you falling asleep at night and sleeping for many, many hours. A version of you that seems and looks resourceful. And even if there were trouble sleeping, I want you to observe that future version of you that uses different ways to escape. A good book, a good story, either read or listened to. Music that takes your imagination on a journey, or even a hypnosis session that takes you into a world within. I want you to see a version of you that no longer needs food or snacks to escape. You've got so many other ways of doing it. Because why would you choose snacks and food to help when it never actually helped anyway? All it did was distract. And distraction increases the vulnerability, not decreases it. I want you to feel that that future version of you is in a place of harmony, place of confidence, and then step into that future version of you and try and bring about that part that was using food to keep you safe. And the harder you try, perhaps the more difficult it becomes. Because that part that tries to keep you safe can only be present if you make the evaluation that you're unsafe. And if that isn't true, then that part becomes elusive, and therefore the desire to snack on food just seems to disappear to nothingness. But if you can bring that part forward, let me know by nodding your head. And if that part perhaps is there, I want to thank you for your positive intention of trying to reduce stress and anxiety, to try to use food to distract, but at a terrible cost. Cost to gut health, cost to good sleep, cost to perhaps itchy skin that comes from too much processed food. And I'm wondering if you're willing to explore a different way to protect. And if you are, let me know by nodding your head. Because I think you've been making an incorrect evaluation. That you're too weak to handle whatever happens And I want you to make a different evaluation. That you are strong, that you are powerful, and that you are safe. Because sometimes feeling strong, powerful, and safe is enough to create a powerful, self-fulfilling prophecy that becomes true. That the stronger you are, the stronger you believe you are. And if by feeling strong and safe you sleep well, that natural alertness becomes unconscious vigilance to evaluate real threats, not imaginary ones, that take swift action if needed. So I want you to feel that you can be responsible for creating powerful sensations of resourcefulness, of strength, of confidence. If you're willing to accept this new role, let me know by nodding your head. And the second thing, let's put food all the way down the list of what helps to escape. You don't need to escape uncomfortable emotions. You can sit with them, and that's okay. They will float by themselves anyway. And if you need to take your mind off things, a book, a story, some music, or fresh air will do all of those things better than food will anyway. The best form of escapism is actually a vivid dream. What could be more escapeful than an alternative reality within your sleep? And if you're willing to use dreams or fictional worlds as a way of escapism rather than food, let me know by nodding your head. Thank you. And I think you'll notice that doing it in this way means you can protect like never before. You were not protecting before. You were distracting before. So feel that this is an elevated responsibility where you can actually make a powerful, profound difference. And then take that feeling as you feel like you're returning to the present moment with a new sense of empowerment, safety, security, and resourcefulness. As you take a deep breath in through your nose and out through your nose. Just wiggle your fingers and wiggle your toes as I now count from 1 to 10 to awaken you. Starting to count. 1, 2, 3, waking up. 4, 5, 6, more alert. 7, 8, open your eyes, open your eyes. 9, 10, wide awake, wide awake, wide awake.